Look at the sky on a dark, clear night. You see the entire sky dotted with countless stars, some bright and some not so bright. Observe them carefully. Do all of them appear to twinkle? Do you find any star-like object which does not twinkle? The objects which do not twinkle are planets. The moon is the brightest object in the night sky. The stars, the planets, the moon, and many other objects in the sky are called celestial objects. The moon. Observe the moon continuously for several nights, preferably from one full moon to the next. Make a sketch of the moon every night in your notebook and note from the day of the full moon. Also note every day the part of the sky, east or west, in which the moon is seen. Phases of the moon. The day on which the whole disk of the moon is visible is known as the full moon day. Thereafter, every night, the size of the bright part of the moon appears to become thinner and thinner. On the 15th day, the moon is not visible. This day is known as the new moon day. The next day, only a small portion of the moon appears in the sky. This is known as the crescent moon. Then again, the moon grows larger every day. On the 15th day, once again, we are able to have a full view of the moon. The various shapes of the bright part of the moon, as seen during a month, are called phases of the moon. New moon day. The time period between one full moon to the next full moon is slightly longer than 29 days. In many calendars, this period is called a month. The moon does not produce its own light, whereas the sun and other stars do. We see the moon because the sunlight falls on it and gets reflected towards us. We therefore see only that part of the moon from which the light of the sun is reflected towards us. The moon completes one rotation on its axis as it completes one revolution around the earth. Moon's surface. When astronauts landed on the moon, they found that the moon's surface is dusty and barren. There are many craters of different sizes. It also has a large number of steep and high mountains. Some of these are as high as the highest mountains on the earth. In 1969, the American astronaut Neil Armstrong landed on the moon for the first time. The stars. The sun is also a star. The stars are millions of times farther away than the sun. The sun is nearly 150 million kilometers away from the earth. The next nearest star is Alpha Centauri. Some stars are even further away. Such large distances are expressed in another unit known as light year. It is the distance traveled by light in 1 year. Pole star. There is actually a star, the pole star, which is situated in the direction of the Earth's axis. It does not appear to move. The pole star lies close to the axis of the rotation of the Earth. Constellations. The stars forming a group that has a recognizable shape is called a constellation. Constellations were devised by ancient people to be able to recognize stars in the sky. The shapes of constellations resemble objects familiar to those people. One of the most famous constellations which you can see during summertime in the early part of the night is Ursa Majors. Orion. Orion is another well-known constellation that can be seen during winter in the late evenings. It is one of the most magnificent constellations in the sky. It also has 7 or 8 bright stars. Orion is also called the Hunter. The 3 middle stars represent the belt of the Hunter. Sirius, the brightest star in the sky, is located close to Orion. Cassiopeia. Cassiopeia is another prominent constellation in the northern sky. It is visible during winter in the early part of the night. It looks like a distorted letter W or M. A constellation does not have only 5 to 10 stars. It has a large number of stars. The solar system. The Sun and the celestial bodies which revolve around it form the solar system. It consists of large number of bodies such as planets, comets, asteroids, and meteors. The gravitational attraction between the Sun and these objects keep them revolving around it. There are 7 other planets that revolve around the Sun. The 8 planets in their order of distance from the Sun are Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. Pluto was the farthest planet from the Sun. Mercury. The planet Mercury is nearest to the Sun. It is the smallest planet of our solar system. Because Mercury is very close to the Sun, it is very difficult to observe it, as most of the time it is hidden in the glare of the Sun. However, it can be observed just before sunrise or just after sunset near the horizon. So, it is visible only at places where trees or buildings do not obstruct the view of the horizon. Mercury has no satellite of its own. Venus. Venus is Earth's nearest planetary neighbor. It is the brightest planet in the night sky. Sometimes Venus appears in the eastern sky before sunrise. Sometimes it appears in the western sky just after sunset. Therefore, it is often called a morning or an evening star, although it is not a star. The Earth. The Earth is the only planet in the solar system on which life is known to exist. Some special environmental conditions are responsible for the existence and continuation of life on the Earth. These include just the right distance from the Sun, so that it has the right temperature range, the presence of water and suitable atmosphere, and a blanket of ozone. From space, the Earth appears blue-green due to the reflection of light from water and landmass on its surface. The tilt is responsible for the change of seasons on the Earth. The Earth has only one moon. Mars. The next planet, the first outside the orbit of the Earth, is Mars. It appears slightly reddish and therefore it is called the red planet. Mars has 2 small natural satellites. Jupiter. Jupiter is the largest planet of the solar system. It is so large that about 1,300 Earths can be placed inside this giant planet. However, the mass of Jupiter is about 318 times that of the Earth. It rotates very rapidly on its axis. Saturn. Beyond Jupiter is Saturn, which appears yellowish in color. What makes it unique in the solar system is its beautiful rings. These rings are not visible with the naked eye. Saturn also has a large number of satellites. One interesting thing about Saturn is that it is the least dense among all the planets. Its density is less than that of water. Uranus and Neptune. These are the outermost planets of the solar system. They can be seen only with the help of large telescopes. Like Venus, Uranus also rotates from east to west. The most remarkable feature of Uranus is that it has highly tilted rotational axis. The first 4 planets, Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars, are much nearer the Sun than the other 4 planets. The planets outside the orbit of Mars, namely Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune, are much farther off than the inner planets. Asteroids. There is a large gap in between the orbits of Mars and Jupiter. This gap is occupied by a large number of small objects that revolve around the Sun. These are called asteroids. Asteroids can only be seen through large telescopes. Comets. Comets are also members of our solar system. They revolve around the Sun in highly elliptical orbits. However, their period of revolution around the Sun is usually very long. A comet appears generally as a bright head with a long tail. The length of the tail grows in size as it approaches the Sun. The tail of a comet is always directed away from the Sun. Many comets are known to appear periodically. One such comet is Halley's Comet, which appears after nearly every 76 years. It was last seen in 1986. Meteors and Meteorites. At night, when the sky is clear and the moon is not there, you may sometimes see bright streaks of light in the sky. These are commonly known as shooting stars, although they are not stars. They are called meteors. A meteor is usually a small object that occasionally enters the Earth's atmosphere. At that time, it has a very high speed. The friction due to the atmosphere heats it up. It glows and evaporates quickly. That is why the bright streak lasts for a very short time. The body that reaches the Earth is called a meteorite. Meteorites help scientists in investigating the nature of the material from which the solar system was formed. Meteor showers. When the Earth crosses the tail of a comet, swarms of meteors are seen. These are known as meteor showers. Artificial satellites. Artificial satellites are man-made. They are launched from the Earth. They revolve around the Earth much closer than Earth's natural satellite. India has built and launched several artificial satellites. Aryabhatta was the first Indian satellite. Artificial satellites have many practical applications. They are used for forecasting weather, transmitting television and radio signals. They are also used for telecommunication and remote sensing.